With such a vibrant pre-owned luxury watch market today, visiting a trusted supplier is always special. We recently went to Kibble Watches, where James showed us their current selection of pre-owned watches. In this video we wanted to focus purely on Rolex, but with a twist. We are comparing old with new. So how has Rolex changed over the years? Well, let's find out. The pre-owned Rolex market is driven primarily by a real passion for older models and the need for more availability of new ones. So if you really want a Submariner, but you just can't deal with a Rolex AD, then your only option is a pre-owned model. Talking about the Rolex Submariner, this is an aspirational watch for many people and a regret to those who sold one. Although the Submariner has changed significantly during its 70 years, all iterations are still instantly recognisable. Our attention was caught by a pair of mint 1994 and 2021 Submariner non-dates, similar but very different evolutions of the Submariner. The 1994 was a 14060 tritium model with the fine caliber 3000. Pre-ceramic and with full papers, it was as good as a neat 44mm vintage sub gets. Compare the equally striking 2021 model now with an extra 1mm in diameter and 1mm lug to lug. Indeed, this is the largest Submariner ever made, with ceramic and platinum PVD adding luxury and presence to the model. Internally, there are more significant changes with the later model, having Paraflex anti-shock and Chronenergy anti-magnetic escapement. So which would you choose? The 2-liner or the 4-liner? Both are brilliant examples, but the more compact case and cleaner dial of the 1994 model has my heart. When we talk about dual time zones and GMT functions, there's one watch we constantly make reference to, and that is the Rolex GMT Master. However good any other GMT watch is, it's always judged against the Rolex. Thanks to Kibble, we had access to two beautiful GMTs, both with Pepsi dials but from very different eras. First was a classic GMT Master dating from 1996 with the caliber 3175. This neat 40mm watch is to many of us the quintessential GMT Master, with the Pepsi insert signifying the difference between night and day. As these watches age, the bezel fades to give the beautiful pink tone which we see in this example. Combine this with the much sought after patina of Rolex Tritium and you have as good a neo-vintage example as you'll find anywhere. Looking similar, but a whopping £20,000 more, we also saw a 2019 GMT Master with a caliber 3285, made not from stainless steel, but heavy 18-karat white gold. This is the model where one could argue the GMT Master lost its original tool watch ethics and became a high-end fashion watch. Equally, one could say that this watch is the pinnacle of Rolex's evolution, displaying supreme functionality and understated luxury. Just before we go on to a stunning trio of watches, I want to tell you about the WatchGecko store. It's a great place to find high quality straps for reasonable prices, and we also ship worldwide, so whether you're in New York or Hong Kong, we can ship you straps or watches. Next time you're after a new watch strap, visit WatchGecko.com. Few everyday watches can boast the presence and instantly recognisable looks of the Rolex Datejust. There were so many to choose from at Kibble, we could only pick three, which we thought represented how the Datejust has evolved over the last 50 years. The examples we found date from 1973 to 1997 to 2019. The 36mm 1973 Rolex is referenced 1601 and has the rare Sigma dial, which indicates the use of gold within the dial. Tritium pips and hands have developed a beautiful patina over the years, and the domed plexiglass has no mark on it. It may be plain stainless steel and virtually monotone, but to many of us this Rolex is a near perfect Rolex, representing something we could aspire to when we were first exposed to the brand. Fast forward to 1997 and we have a Datejust at the other end of the scale. This 18-karat gold model with an embossed Rolex Jubilee dial represents overt luxury and as a consequence is highly striking. Gold Arabic numerals in a concentric design add sophistication to the dial, and it is fascinating to think that despite the differences between the 1973 steel model and this, to many people, this gold Datejust is also the perfect Rolex. Entirely up to date, we now have a 2019 41mm blue dial Jubilee. This model has a bolder dial with large blocks of luminescence, making it a watch that almost bridges the divide between dress Rolexes and sport Rolexes. It has the latest caliber 3235 and is the larger 41mm case. This watch is a full 5mm bigger than the vintage Datejust and represents everything modern about the company, and as such will appeal to a newer customer. Truthfully, we're not so keen on the big 41mm Datejust, preferring 36mm, which to us is the perfect size for this model. I'll come clean. The Explorer 2 is my Rolex of choice, so no matter what reference or variant we look at, I'm sold. First up is a 1989 reference 16570, which is the model that I own. Everything about this watch is perfect, from its 40mm case, 12mm thickness and 47.5 lug to lug. It displays a rigidity few other Rolexes can boast, primarily due to the fixed bezel. James Kibble's example here still has the tritium dial, which is fading to the beautiful sandy colour that we all seek, although you can see the hands are replacement models because they are a different colour. Nevertheless, the beauty of the watch is still intact. The Explorer 1 is arguably the most sought after pre-owned Rolex. However, to me the Explorer 2 represents an evolution of that watch and deserves a place on the greatest tool watches of all time pedestal. With a 24-hour hand and supremely functional look, it is one of the best Rolex watches. So what could top it? Only a brilliant vintage Explorer 2. Like the stunning 1975 example. One can only wonder how impressive this watch was in 1975 when it was placed on the wrist of its first owner. The dimensions are similar to the later model and the movement is the original caliber 1575. This model was known as the Frezioni 1655 Albino Mark II, so named in Italy where Frezioni means arrow, referring to the GMT hand, and albino, as the orange GMT hand, has now gone white with age. The patina tritium in this model is perfect and the armoured plexiglass with Cyclops is blemish-free. As James states on his website, to many people the 1655 is a grail watch, and this is as fine an example as we've ever seen. Feeling somewhat breathless after seeing this beautiful selection of Rolexes, it makes us understand why we fell for the brand in the first place. There's a lot of anti-Rolex rhetoric on the internet today, and some of it's come from us. But when you see these models, especially the vintage ones, you start to remember why you wanted one so badly. What was our favourite watch of the day? Well, I'm afraid we left the best till last. It was, of course, the 1655 Explorer 2. This watch is stunning and we envy the future owner. If the £18,000 required for this Explorer is too much for you, our runner-up is the 1973 Datejust with the Sigma dial, which will always be to so many a perfect Rolex. If you've got an interest in luxury watches but you'd prefer something maybe a little more contemporary, then have a look at the video we made when we visited the Tudor boutique in London, where we saw some beautiful 2023 examples.